Welcome to the last weekly box office countdown. I'm Kevin Williams, and we're starting from the bottom up. Animated sci-fi adventure My Hero Academia: Heroes Rising is falling fast with a huge 74% drop in ticket sales, making just over $1.5 million in its second weekend for a domestic total of $12.7 million, making it the 8th highest grossing anime feature in North America ever. Academia is about to be expelled from the countdown for falling from last week's 4 to number 10. Comedy Impractical Jokers the movie isn't laughing about losing more than 48% of its audience in its third weekend in theaters, Spit taking in just $1.8 million this weekend for a domestic total of $9.6 million. The Impractical Jokers Pratt fall from last week's 7 to number 9. Margot Robbie's action-adventure Birds of Prey is still having its goose cooked at the box office, getting kicked in the giblets with a 47% drop in ticket sales, adding just $2.1 million to its Bird Box this weekend, for a disappointing 5-week domestic take of $82.5 million, and a global total of $196 million. We KFC Birds fall from last week's 6 to number 8. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's action comedy Bad Boys for Life is still living large, with just a 30% drop in ticket sales in its 8th week in theaters, earning $3 million this weekend, bringing its domestic take to $202 million for a global total of $415 million. The Bad Boys' good time continues as they fall from last week's 5 to number 7. In the period dramedy Emma, beautiful, clever, and rich Emma Woodhouse is a restless queen bee without rivals in her sleepy little town. In this glittering satire of social class and the pain of growing up, Emma must adventure through misguided matches and romantic missteps to find the love that's been there all along. Well, Jane Austen can take pride in the fact that most critics weren't prejudiced against this newest adaptation of one of her novels. Emma's 74% tomato meter rating was just 1 point shy of being certified fresh, and moviegoers were even more captivated by the young matchmaker's charms, giving Emma an 83% audience score and a $6.8 million 6th place top 10 debut. Harrison Ford's action-adventure, Call of the Wild, is only slightly more popular than the Call of the Telemarketer, losing over 47% of its audience and making just $7 million in its third weekend in theaters, bringing its U.S. take to $58 million for a worldwide total of $99 million. And if it weren't for the movie's $110 million production budget, this 20th century Disney flick wouldn't still be in the doghouse. Han Solo and his four-legged Chewie's wild spaceless odyssey falls from last week's 3 to number 5. Ben Schwartz, James Marsden, Tika Sumpter, and Jim Carrey's live-action comedy Sonic the Hedgehog had a 51% drop in ticket sales in its third weekend, earning another $8 million Friday to Sunday, bringing its domestic score to over $140 million, for a global take of $295 million. Sonic Saga continues as he falls from last week's 2 to number 4. In the sports drama The Way Back, when he was in high school, Jack Cunningham, Ben Affleck, had everything going for him. A basketball phenom, he could have punched his ticket to college or even the pros, but instead he chose to walk away from the game, forfeiting his future. Jack's glory days are long gone, but not forgotten. Years later, he gets the chance to take back his life when he's asked to coach the struggling basketball team at his alma mater. Jack reluctantly accepts, surprising no one more than himself. And as the boys start to come together as a team and win, he may get his last shot at redemption. Most critics thought Affleck's sports drama was a hoop dream come true, giving it a certified fresh 87% tomato meter rating. And moviegoers were March mad about this sports flick too, giving it an 84% audience score and an $8.5 million third place countdown debut. Elizabeth Moss's sci-fi thriller, The Invisible Man, had 46% of its audience disappear, earning $15.1 million in its second weekend in theaters, bringing its domestic take just over $52 million for a worldwide total of $98.3 million. A sum that's even more impressive for a film that only had a $7 million production budget. The man may be invisible, but Universal and Blumhouse's profits sure as hell aren't. The see-through dude falls from last week's top spot to number 2. And finally, in Pixar's animated adventure Onward, in a suburban fantasy world, two teenage elf brothers, Ian, Tom Holland, and Barley, Chris Pratt, go on an epic journey to discover if there's still a little magic left out there, in order to spend one last day with their father, who died when they were too young to remember him. Seriously, when will Disney's serial parent killing spree finally end? The bodies continue to pile up and still no justice for Snow White's mom, Cinderella's mom, Anna and Elsa's parents, Princess Jasmine's mother, or Aladdin's mom. We're not even going to talk about why Aladdin ever wished to get his mother back. Clearly it's Disney's deep pockets that are keeping the police from even bringing Mickey in for questioning. If you ever wonder why the mouse always wears gloves, so he'll never leave fingerprints. We now return to our regularly scheduled countdown. Critics like Disney's newest orphans, giving Onward a certified fresh 86% tomato meter rating. And moviegoers liked Onward even more, giving it a 96% audience score and a $40 million countdown debut at number 1. If you've seen any of the movies in this week's top 10, search for Last Weekly on the Anchor app to call in your review using our patented Last Weekly movie rating system. If you thought the movie was good to great and people should hit the Cineplex ASAP to see it on the big screen, give it a movie theater. If the movie was just okay, but you wish you'd waited to catch it on a streaming service, then give it a Netflix. But if the movie was bad, wasting your money and time, both of which you're never getting back, then give that movie a kill. We want to hear from you. Movie theater, Netflix, or kill? What's your verdict? Even though kill is a Last Weekly box office ratings option, no movies were harmed in the making of this podcast. Now you can get social with me and the rest of the Last Weekly crew in an instant on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us at Last Weekly. And subscribe to Last Weekly on your favorite podcast app to hear our recap of the week in news, pop culture, and entertainment. Plus TV and movie trailer reviews during Trailer Talk. I'm Kevin Williams. Thanks for listening to the Last Weekly Box Office Countdown.